Welcome back to episode 58 of the Second Look Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Arenburg. Joined along with me is Brandon Brown, and currently in the air is Alex Mandarino, flying to Europe right now to enjoy a nice little vacation. And Christian Chinidi is, of course, busy doing Sportsnet duties. But yeah, exciting first week of the NHL and NBA playoffs. I would more so say the Stanley Cup playoffs have, outdone the NBA playoffs like they normally do. But Brandon, good to have you back on the show after missing last week. I know that you're going to mention about your picks, but overall, just tell me about the week so far. What's it been like?
No, good week, Justin. It's you're right. It's been crazy with the start of both leagues, um, first rounds in the playoffs. I mean, I was talking about this with Armin Zargarian down at Sportsnet Studios. I work with him on the JD Bucks podcast, and we were talking about how the Olympic break, it seems, in the NHL has kind of done this has made a change, I guess, where the two playoffs have started aligned. Usually the NHL would start a bit earlier. A week later or a week and a half later, the NBA would start their first round, especially with the play-in. It kind of extended that as well. But this year they were like perfectly aligned, and I think it's done wonders for everybody who enjoys watching,
Mm-hmm.
these playoffs go on at the same time. You don't have that weird lull where there's going to be maybe the end of the first round while the other leagues getting ready for the third round or something. It's like that doesn't make sense. You want to have them aligned, and I think this year they've got a schedule where that actually helps everybody watch as much as they can.
Yeah, even in cities where, they got two sports teams, like the Philadelphia Flyers, who are up 3-0 in their series right now over the Pittsburgh Penguins, which we will get into because that is a shocker. And then the 76ers, who are tied 1-1 in their series against the Boston Celtics, even though I don't think that they can expect to get past game 5. I think that's a 5-game series, but we'll get into those. And then also the Celtics and Bruins are also in the playoffs, just to name a couple franchises or cities with both their NBA and NHL teams in the playoffs. So it's a lot of work for the stadium people. Or stadium maintenance people, I guess is what, I don't even know what their exact term would technically
Stadium
be.
operations, I guess you would kind of say. Yeah,
Operations
you're kind of
crew,
right.
maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know. Like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I guess I don't know. Anyway, a lot of work for those guys
Oh
at the
yeah.
end of the day. But yeah, we'll jump right into it. The NHL playoffs. Most teams are 3 games in. As you listen to this on Friday. Other than that, yeah, Edmonton and Anaheim are 2 games in. Montreal and Tampa Bay are 2 games in. I think those are the only 2 series that will be at 2 games after tonight. Um, but yeah, it's been exciting. It's been intense, just like you expect with these playoffs. I think the referees are having a hard time dealing with some of this stuff because players just amp up the intensity all that more, and the games get not it's ugly. The word is ugly, but like it's exciting ugly in terms of like how gruesome or how mean these games get. But yeah, so first off, let's just jump right into the series that, you know,
Yeah.
Battle of Pennsylvania.
Is that
Philadelphia.
the is that the one so far that's been the most surprising for you?
Most surprising, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I picked Pittsburgh to win in 5 because I didn't think Philadelphia's center depth was honestly good. I thought that, they had Christian Dvorak, Trevor Zegers, who plays center but also can play wing. I didn't like the way they matched up against Pittsburgh down the middle of the ice, but one thing that they have that has been apparent in this series, to me at least, is the speed of the Flyers compared to the old and slow Pittsburgh Penguins. That's been one of the biggest things in this series for me, is how fast the Philadelphia Flyers play at their pace of play, basically, compared to the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are trying to slow down the game and honestly pick their spots. It kind of feels like, in terms of when they're going to attack, when they're going to be able to get on the forecheck, because they haven't been doing that as consistently in this series, I feel like. But yeah, I'll go to you and just get your overall thoughts, considering Pi Pittsburgh might be done in 4 games. Like, seriously, Sidney Crosby's potential final playoff run might end in him getting swept. That is crazy.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you think about Sidney Crosby in the playoffs, that's one thing you definitely don't think about is a first round exit, let alone a potential sweep where his team doesn't win a game. But it kind of goes to show, like you said, the pace of this Philadelphia team. They're fast, they're tough. They obviously are very skilled, and I think you're seeing, like you said, it's a young team still, but it's still also they're kind of getting into their prime, whereas Pittsburgh is such a mix of very old, and then they have a very young group of players too. Like you talk about Ben Kindle and Chinnikov; these guys are very young. They're not really like they're not the guys that
Mhm,
Philadelphia has. Like when you talk about Tippett and Konechny, who I think has already been in his prime, and now you add in guys like Zegras, Jimmy Drysdale, still young, but they have more experience just in their general resume than these some of these young guys on Pittsburgh. So I think that's helping them. But the one thing too is the goaltending. Like we've seen
yeah.
um, Dan Vladar really come into his own this season as a starting goalie, and that's continued in the first round against Pittsburgh. He's really just solidified Philadelphia's back end. I think in the past they've had bits and pieces where we've seen some of this flash with the skill that they have, but because a lot of it because of the goaltending after what happened with the Carter Hart situation, they were kind of left without a starting goalie, and that really I think held them back from doing more in seasons past, let alone what they've done this year. So I mean, it's gone to show I think that Philadelphia is maybe ready to take a little bit of a step. I don't know if a lot of people will pick them in a potential
Mhm.
second round matchup with a team like Carolina or even if Ottawa comes back. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. But I think they've turned a lot of people's heads with just the way that they played. And they played really well to end the regular season, too. So it's just been even more of that, which is just impressive to see.
Yeah, for sure. I think, the one biggest thing that we haven't done is we've kind of buried the lead with Porter Martone being the X factor,
Yeah.
that has turned into a superstar overnight. I look at him and I don't know, like, I get the comparisons to Corey Perry, I do, but I see more Matthew Tkachuk in him. Like, he he's that type of player. Like, he's not the quickest player, but he's got silky hands. He has a great shot. He's gonna get in your face. Like, the Corey Perry comparisons are there for sure, but I just think Matthew Tkachuk even more so, in the modern sense than Corey Perry.
Yeah.
He's just been unreal. That shot in game 1, man, to put the Flyers up 3-1 and basically seal that game, that was just nasty. Like, that was
No,
just
yeah, for
pure
sure.
filth.
And he stepped in the way that a lot of young, obviously he'll be a rookie next year. Like it's you see guys kind of get this opportunity once in a while, but it's rare that you see one like guys really come in and be able to step in the way that he has. Usually it's like here and there they make a bit of an impact, but now it's like he's become one of their more important players already, which is kind of crazy to see. But it's awesome to see what the development is going to look like, and it's just another nail in the coffin for how good this Philly team might be in a few years. You give them a chance to keep maybe this core together, let them grow a little bit, and they've got younger players that are still going to get better. So it's really impressive. I mean, you guys, I wasn't with you
Has
guys last week, but I had Philly in 7 in this series, and they've gone
Wow.
beyond my expectations. Um, Obviously, and taking this 3-0 lead, I figured this would be a battle back and forth. Both teams that were kind of itching and clawing to get back into the playoffs and do some damage, but yeah, Pittsburgh's kind of been underwhelming, and part of that has just been, Philadelphia's play. And you got to give a lot of credit to like a guy like Rasmus Ristolainen, who never had a chance to get in the playoffs really until this season, and now all of a sudden he's really showing what he can do. So I mean, I'm really excited to see what they have in store for the rest of the series, and maybe even going further.
Do you think Martone has already passed Mitchkov as their most exciting young player?
I mean, I think you can argue that he's passed in terms of where the potential might be. Like if you look at just what he's doing right now, um, like I said, the ability to step in and play with literally obviously no NHL experience prior to this. Whereas Mishkov's had a full season now,
Yeah,
like to kind of get
yeah.
going and figure it out, and he still hasn't really been able to have that kind of impact. So in terms of where it might all lead, I mean, at this point, if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan, you're probably more excited about what the potential could be for a guy like Porter Martone than what you've seen out of Matvei Michkov at this point. You just know a little bit more maybe about what you have
Like
with Michkov. So it's crazy to think, but yeah, it's possible.
Porter Martone's gonna be their captain. Like he will be the future captain of the Philadelphia Flyers, without a doubt. He
I
he
mean,
has
yeah,
that
I could
material.
see
He
it.
was
Yeah.
captain at World Juniors. He's that type of player. Like he just has that type of um leadership quality to him that I find that not a lot of these young players have, but a couple of them do, and he's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
I think like it's on a larger picture. Um, these young players like they don't come into the NHL and just like hang like anymore. They don't. They
No.
they take
Immediate.
over.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
immediately take over. There's no like, oh, I'm scared to go out there in the playoffs and play these guys as an 18, 19-year-old. No, they literally want the puck on their stick every single second and they're willing to take over games. Like it is kind of I don't know what the word is, but it's strange to see because like you always would know like, hey, you're a rookie, you're probably gonna play fourth line minutes. You're not gonna get to play a massive role on this team, but we want you here to develop a little bit. But now it's like, okay, come in. You're gonna be the top line guy. You're gonna play 20 minutes a night, and you're gonna take over a game because you want that. Like, and
Yeah.
it's not like it's just crazy to think about. Like you look, it's not just like the guys like Bedard, Celebrini, and those guys. Leo Carlson, look at him. Cutter Gauthier, look at him. Porter Martone, obviously. Ben Kindle, look at him this season. Like,
Yeah.
it is crazy to think about how these guys just step into the NHL now and they're already taking over. Like, you just never heard of that before. So,
No,
that,
it's true. Like that kind of impact was always like kept for like the generational type of guys that it was
yeah,
like, yeah, like the Sidney Crosbys, and obviously we talk about McDavid, and now you're seeing like every year it feels like you're getting a guy coming into his own at a young age and is able to hang with these NHL players, but also to almost take it another step forward. I mean, like we saw with Celebrini this year, like these guys before they're 20 years old, they're able to play with the best players in the world, and they're able to produce like them, which, you could go back like Sidney Crosby when I think he had 100-point season as a rookie, or McDavid's obviously put up insane numbers, even, going back to his rookie seasons. But now you're seeing guys like be able to hang with like the group that's separating themselves. And I think that's only going to continue to grow as we see guys like, I just think of the run of number one picks that we had, when you include guys like Bedard, who's going to hit that point at some point in the next couple of seasons. Slavkovsky now is coming into his own, whether maybe not on the score sheet in terms of huge point seasons, but in terms of the impact he can have as a player who came out as a in what was deemed to be a weak draft. He's now showing that that might not be the case. That the top of that draft was just as good as what we're seeing from some of the other years. So I mean, you continue to look at Matthew Schaefer. I mean, he's plays another position, and he completely changed the way that we look at number one
yeah,
defenseman
yeah.
coming out of the draft. And like, it's just been incredible to see the swath of new talent that's coming in, and when they're doing it at such a young age, it just it's going to do so much for the league, and it's going to change the way that we look at um, future drafts and the expectations, and it'll be up to these kids that are still coming up to really show that they can do the same, right? So that it's not just a 5 year period where we had this just insane run of kids. It was like, no, we're the game's going to continue to get better every year.
And I'm sure it pisses the older generation off, to be completely honest. Like, I'm sure that they're like, no, these guys can't handle it. Like, like it's not, they got to take a couple years to understand how to play at the NHL level. And it's not the same. It doesn't matter to them. Like, they don't care. These younger
Yeah, yeah.
guys don't care. They just want to come in, they play puck, and that's all they need. That's all they care about. Like,
Yeah, and they don't have to worry anymore about like not like necessarily the politics of the game, but like in terms of the way the game used to be refereed, and the way that in
yeah.
terms of enforcers, and the way that you kind of had to prove yourself in the league before. Now that's not the case. You just step on the ice if you've if you've proven it already, because of your draft position or because of your probably short time in the minors, it's like teams are ready to hand the keys over to these kids right away. And I think for the most part, that's probably the right way to do it in today's NHL because that's your best chance of getting started quicker, being able to develop a core around a select number of guys, and then really be able to see what you have as soon as possible, as opposed to waiting things out and being cautious. And then if it doesn't work out, you've wasted so much time. So
Yeah, well, let's move into one of those forwards that you did mention, and that is Yuri Slafkovsky and the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, game one hat trick for Slafkovsky, overtime winner. First Canadiens player in history, I believe, to have 3 power play goals in a single playoff game. So that was pretty cool to see. And then Tampa Bay even things up in a like game one was great, but game two just kicked the doors off of game one. Game two was just amazing start to finish. And Tampa Bay evens the series at 1-1 after a 3-2 victory in overtime again. Brandon, give me your thoughts through the first 2 games of this series.
I mean, this is probably for me had been the most entertaining series so far. I mean, it's
Yeah.
been the 2 games obviously have been incredible. Obviously overtime hockey, you can't really ask for more than that when it comes to a Stanley Cup playoff game. So I mean, this series has delivered so far, and I think it's going to continue to do so. I mean, and the more I watch, the more I feel better about Montreal. I had Tampa in this series. I had them. I kind of went back and forth between whether or not they would win in 6 or 7. I picked 6, but I don't feel good about that at all. I don't even feel really that good about my pick of the Lightning at all either. I think the Canadians are really showing that um, they have more than just some again the young players that I'm talking about with Philly. Montreal, I think, is taking another step. Where last year we saw them in the playoffs, they gave the Capitals a pretty good run, but everyone understood where they were as an organization. I think this year it's absolutely different. Where in an Eastern Conference that everyone has kind of determined is pretty wide open. I think the Montreal Canadiens have just as good a chance as anyone to go deep in this playoffs. But that starts with beating a really tough opponent in the Lightning. So this series for
Like
me,
the
it's
Lightning might be the most or the biggest or the toughest opponent that they would see in the Eastern Conference.
yeah, I think a potential matchup with Carolina would give them fits as well. But I think you're right. Like a lot of people are saying, whoever wins this series could be the team that represents the East in the Stanley Cup Final. Like that's not a crazy thing to say at this point, and Montreal's deserving of that. And I can't wait to continue to see them. Dolbish has been unbelievable. Like
Yeah,
you talk,
like the surprising thing to me is I looked up his goal saved above expected, and he's down below a goal. Like he's negative 1.1 right now, which
I,
on money puck
yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
Which is kind of surprising to me because the that's just not passing my eye test. Because in games 1 and 2, my eye test told me he was phenomenal. Like he was making
yeah.
saves that I did not expect him to make, and he was playing like great hockey, I found, but
No, I
eh,
would agree.
eh,
Even without the numbers maybe back him up, I'm sure you're right. Like it seems like every time they need him to make a stop, he's there, gives them a chance, and yeah, like they've just been so great to watch. And I think like the ability that some of their players have, it goes beyond what the Lightning have right now. Like I think it's going to come down to whether or not Kucherov and John Cooper really and Vasilevsky can hold off this Montreal Canadiens squad that's really coming together at the perfect time. To see Josh Anderson turn back the clock a little bit and become
he's just
their
one of
guy
those
again.
guys,
Like
man. He's just one of
he,
those
it's
guys
so much
that
fun to watch, and like you're getting Caulfield and Suzuki doing their thing. You're watching Lane Hudson fly around in the playoffs. It's like, wow, like the team looks so good. And it'll be a real shame if they somehow do end up losing this series. But
through
it's been great to watch.
82 games, like
Yeah,
Josh Anderson will annoy you. But it's the playoff games where it's like, okay, this is why Josh Anderson we put up with him for 82 games
yeah,
if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan and you just go, okay, I understand. I understand. He's worth it.
yeah,
Like, just the level that he goes to in the playoffs, it's just some guys have that ability and some guys don't. He
yeah.
does.
Is there anything that? And I'm trying to think. I mean, the only thing I can come up with maybe is like the Tampa just the relentlessness of their forecheck and everything they're doing. Is there anything
Yeah.
that bothers you and worries you going forward in this series as a Habs fan? Obviously,
Um,
like it's hard to come up with anything, right? Like
I think Brandon Hagel's been the best player in the series so
that's a
far.
great point. That's a great point.
I think for both teams, I think Brandon Hagel has his hands down by the best player in the series. Um, he's just like you said, relentless on the forecheck. He's everywhere in terms of the offensive zone. His like his ability to get off his shot is pretty unique as well. Like I find him very quick and sneaky good at that. He has an underrated shot, obviously one of the
Yeah,
best players in the NHL. Can fight, is going to get in after the whistle. He's just a dog on a bone, and that's just a player that you want on your roster. So he's an issue, that's for sure. I The one thing I think the Montreal Canadiens are doing a good job of so far through 2 games is I like the idea of forcing Tampa Bay into taking penalties. And I think that like if Tampa Bay is
they've
going to
been
keep on taking them, you got to keep on making them pay.
and they've been pretty like I've been surprised with how undisciplined they've been this series. And you're right, part of that goes to Montreal's credit. Like they're goading him into it and they're taking the bait.
I just want to talk about Kucherov for 1 second.
Go for it.
Like, how many penalties did he get away with in Game 2? There
Yeah,
was
I
so
mean,
many. Like, I'm not trying to like, it's just he takes a fake slap shot at the ref, which how is that not a penalty? Like, that
yeah,
is
that's a tough one.
that
Like
is
it's a
crazy.
if you had a technical foul in
Yeah,
hockey, I think
it's,
that's what you would get it for. But like what do? You can't like you're gonna give them an unsportsmanlike or something. Like you can't really do that. So like
I mean, I
it's
would
weird.
think, wouldn't
Yeah,
you?
like that's I
Like
think
he's
that's on
lining up, he's
it's on the
literally
line of
lining
whether
up
or
to
not he
take a
deserves it.
shot.
Yeah,
Like
it was very weird. I was kind of off put by it as well. You're right.
then there was also the slash on Josh Anderson
Yeah.
when they're on the power play, I believe. There was also a couple other times where he's 200 feet from his net and he's doing stuff that I was like, this is right on the line of if this is a penalty or not, and the refs just aren't calling it. I don't know if it's the Kucherov
Yeah.
effect and you don't want to
That's my
call it on
guess.
him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it's just he's taking penalties that I'm like, this doesn't seem right, but like he's doing it. And some of them
Yeah.
he's getting away with and some of them he's not. But yeah, man, he's like the front runner in terms of like taking unnecessary penalties, other than Sabrin, who took a penalty last night or in Game 2 and was probably pooping his pants in the box with 2 minutes
Yeah.
left,
Yeah.
thinking,
That was crazy. Yeah. And
I'm
that's what I
never,
mean. Like they're
I might never play again after taking that penalty.
no, that's what I mean. Like a lot of the Lightning guys, like I get it. It's not the same team that we've known in the past, but there has been, yeah, like a lot of those kind of like weird plays. Like, why are you doing that? But
Yeah.
you're right. The
What do
refs
you
have
think about
struggled.
Game 3 and Games 4? Um, what do you think the burn's going to be like?
I think it'll be incredible. Montreal will be crazy. Like, I think, yeah, I expect them to, or the crowd at least, to be incredibly into it. I expect it to be loud. A lot of people have been, um, a lot of people have been, excuse me, a lot of people have been talking about the Barnes or in the league in general, and it's kind of been a discussion about Buffalo and the rest of the teams and who's really got it. I think Montreal is going to bring it. They're going to be ready to really show the rest of the league who the real uh,
Montreal is just hands
alphas
down the
are
best
in the
place
league. Yeah,
to
hundred
play.
percent.
Like it is, and 60% of the players agree. Like over half of the league thinks the best place to play is the Bell Center. And in the playoffs, it just goes to another level. And
Yeah,
one thing I completely forgot about, but I saw this morning. Do you remember what Kucherov said about not only the Canadians and the Canadians fans after winning the cup in 2021?
I don't remember. I wish I did. This feels
He
like
went off in his
uh,
winning press conference and was like, their finals was last series. They acted like they won the Stanley Cup after winning 1 game. It's
right.
absolutely ridiculous and all this. Like, Montreal does not like Nikita Kucherov, especially
No,
and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Like, this is a massive series that I didn't even think about for that reason as well. is like trying to get revenge for what he said 5 years ago about this team. Um, and hey, like it might work. It might work, but yeah, I can guarantee you one thing: when they played in Montreal in 2021, he didn't have to deal with a crowd that he's gonna have to deal with tomorrow night
Yeah.
or tonight.
And I mean, like, and I'll tell you this much too. Like, I think this series, maybe more than any, is such an like it's such an obvious version of two teams just going in separate directions.
Yeah.
As I've been on, and you know this, I've been on the Tampa's not done train, and I still kind of to a degree am. But I think you look at the team that they're icing out in Stanley Cup playoffs this season, and then obviously that includes with no Victor Hedman right now. We know he is unlikely to come back, I guess, at this point in the round. But even you look into going into next year, like unless they make some serious changes, which is possible. Um, yeah, like I have them. I would have them kind of continuing to fall back. Like it just doesn't. It seems like they're on the decline, while obviously Montreal's been on the incline, and they look like they're skyrocketing right to the top of the league because they just continue to build, and they've got a ton of assets still coming. So yeah, to me, like it's just been the most contrasting versions of these two teams so far this playoffs.
We'll move on, but actually, I have one question for you. Um, and it's not even just like about this playoff series, but
Yeah.
if you had to predict for next season, is Montreal the favorite to win the East?
I mean, I don't know that I would have them as. I mean, I would have them as the favorite. I would have them right now as my favorite to win the Atlantic Division. That's what I'll say. I don't know that I would have them as the favorite over like a Carolina, who I think will continue to just bring back the same thing and do the same thing next year. Um, so I would say I would have if they didn't finish like top three in the East next year, I would be surprised, and I would expect them to again compete and probably be the favorite again. Like I said, to win the Atlantic Division at least.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Let's go to the team that actually won the Atlantic Division this season, and that would be the Buffalo Sabres. Heroic comeback in game 1, and then they didn't have it in game 2, and and now Boston heads back to TD Garden, tied 1-1, got the split on the road, and they can do some damage at home because that's probably one of the also one of the best home environments in the NHL in terms of playoffs as well. Brandon, I don't know about you, but, like, these first 2 games I watched, and to me, Boston was the better team. Like, they were. Obviously, they don't hold on in game 1, but for most of that game, they dominated, it felt like, and they really controlled the play, and then in game 2, they basically did the exact same thing again. So is there reason to be concerned if you're Buffalo right now?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, on one hand, this series has gone kind of exactly the way I expected it to. I didn't necessarily think Buffalo would need a comeback in game one. I thought the energy and the excitement of being back, winning a division, home ice advantage, I figured that would be enough to kind of give them that energy to win the game one, and then Boston would kind of settle into what they're going to do the rest of the series and win game
Yeah.
two. So yeah, either even Boston, if anything, has exceeded
Mhm.
my expectations so far in this series. I picked them to win in 7 games, and I think I'm obviously pretty good on pace for that right now. I think the series is going to be another one similar to Montreal and Tampa Bay that goes a little bit back and forth, just because I think part of that is Buffalo's inexperience. I think they're
Yeah.
actually the more talented team. I think a lot of people would see that, but I think because of that lack of experience, obviously their goaltending right now is under question with that awful goal in game two by Lukanen. It's one of those things where it's just like they don't seem to be there yet, or they're a playoff style team, with a deep core with a strong defensive group, which I do like their defense a lot. But then the goaltending is just doesn't seem to be, at least for me. I didn't see it being there for them. Um, so I think that's just those are your concerns right now if you're Buffalo. But if you're Boston, you're feeling really good. You're going home. That's what all you want is get that split on the road, and they're going to come back. And we know, like you said, TD Garden's going to be going crazy too. That's another barn that will be be pushing to
Yeah.
show what they can do, and if Boston gives them something to cheer about, we know that they can go crazy. So yeah, I mean, again, you're talking about uh, guys on Boston when you talk about Pasternak and McAvoy and even to a degree Jeremy Swayman. It's like these guys have been there a little bit before. They know what to expect, especially in the first round. Like they to me they're still the favorite in this series to
Yeah,
pull it
I
out.
mean, they have been playing, like I said, better than Buffalo in my opinion. It's just gonna be I think Buffalo's just gonna get the nerves out, and we'll see if they can get the nerves out on the road, even though it's probably tougher to do that. But maybe they unite as a team on the road together and they come together and play better. I think Alex Lyon is gonna get the start in game three, if I'm not mistaken. That is
Not
happening.
surprised. Yeah,
Yeah, after Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen let in that goal from center ice for Morgan Geekie, kind of have to make that move, I feel like. But anyway, yeah, it's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a tight series the whole way. And you could be looking at 6 or 7 games as well, just after watching the first 2 games. Um, I'll go to the last series in the East. Man, I feel bad for Ottawa. I feel bad for Ottawa. Like
yeah, yeah,
they sh- they really could be up 2-0 in this series right now. They
100%.
played well enough to be up 2-0, and they are facing an 0-2 hole going home. Now I will say, and this is my question to you, like even though they're down 0-2, I think they're not out of this series yet. Like no chance they're out of the series yet. Even if they lose tonight, like I'm not like I can write them off fully yet. Are you the same way?
I agree with you on the first part that they're definitely
Okay.
not out of this series after 2 games. But I think if they lose game three, it's for me, it'd be
It's
over at that
curtains.
point. Yeah, like not just the team is one that's capable of doing what few teams have ever done, which is coming back from 0-3 hole. But it's just so improbable like that
Yeah.
I just don't see it. And the way that the Sens team has gone, as hot as they've been, I think it's not the easiest thing to do. So I think yeah, I think I give them every shot in the world to win game three. Like you said, they played really well. Like game two, 100%. I thought they deserved to win that one. Um, obviously a ton of chances. Like, you got to give Freddie Anderson credit
Yeah.
as much as people love to, and still to this day, I think like still want to give him crap for his injury history and some of his regular season performances in the playoffs. I think he's got pretty good numbers, right? Like it's not like he's
He's been
completely,
good.
in yeah, you can depend on this guy. So I mean, until you get to the Eastern Conference Finals, and then maybe that's when you start to worry a little bit. But
Yeah.
but I think for now, like I think Carolina to me is still the favorite in this series. I want to see what Ottawa has in store if they can win one at home. Just kind of get the ball rolling a little bit, and then you going into Game 4 if they can win that one, tied up, go back to Carolina, hope for a draw, and yeah, do what they can do. It's just all about for me. It's all about their top guys. The Kachucks and the Pintos and all these guys. They got to get going in terms of figuring it out. Stutzel's been great, but outside of him, I think
He's gonna
I
put
want to
the puck in the
see.
back of the net, though.
Well, they
He's
all
gotta
do,
do it.
right? Obviously no goals in game one. Game two, obviously they put it in there a couple times, but it wasn't enough. So we'll see what they got coming up in game three. I do expect them to be a bit better, and being at home should help.
And they wasted 2 great performances by Linus Hallmark. Like, let's call it what it is. They wasted them.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it
Do you think
sucks.
that that's do you think that that's not necessarily like papering over any other issues, but like you do take Allmark out of the equation, and Carolina maybe is dominating this series. You know what I mean? Like that's
Maybe. I mean, you're still down 3 defensemen if you're Ottawa, and you're getting Clevin back in game 3, so I think that's huge. But, it's playoffs, so you can't make excuses for that anymore.
no, for sure.
And I think that Ottawa, honestly, just their puck luck isn't there right now. I think honestly that they've outplayed them. Like I watched all of game two, and I looked and I watched Ottawa outplay Carolina in my opinion. Like I just thought they were relentless on the forecheck. They really had Carolina hemmed in, and they just couldn't capitalize on their opportunities. The only time that I was like Carolina's outplaying Ottawa was the final 30 seconds of the double overtime before they scored the game-winning goal for the second time. But yeah, it's just I did not think Ottawa was getting outplayed in that game at all. I think they're right there in the series. They just need puck luck to go their way and hopefully a home building that, last year last year wasn't even this year is gonna be a lot better playoff experience for their players compared to
'Cause it's
last
not
year because
Toronto.
because it's not
Yeah,
Toronto and you're
yeah,
not gonna have those Leafs fans in your building. Like, it's gonna be a
100%.
95% Ottawa crowd tonight, and that's massive for this team. They never experienced anything like it. What was last year, like 65, 70%, even still when they tried to, like, eliminate a bunch of Leafs fans?
Yeah.
Like and, like, it's not their fault, like, they can't do anything
No, no,
about
no.
it. Like,
But you're right,
if
it should
Leafs
be
fans
more
are
exciting for
willing to
them, and it
pay
should be
friggin'
yeah.
ridiculous amounts of money, like, they're just gonna sell their tickets. But like, it should be a lot better tonight for them, and hopefully, like, they get a performance that is good. Brady needs to play better, in my opinion. I think that he is one
Definitely.
player that needs to get going. Um, I well, we can just briefly say, like or, well, you can tell me your thoughts on that fight from last week. What did you think?
You're talking about the stall, him
The
and
Stall
Stall.
fight. Did you think it
Yeah.
was smart, or did you think it was bad?
I've gone back and forth on this, because I do understand why he did it, but I also don't think, like, that the team was in a position where they needed that off the hop. Like, a lot of people thought they were pretty evenly matched, that thought the Sens had a good chance to go into the series and do some damage on the score sheet. So why do you have to take yourself, who's perceived as one of the best players on the Sens, you're taking yourself out and matching up with Jordan Staal. The Canes will take that every time. And I think
Yeah.
that was the one thing that I didn't really understand is, like, I just didn't see the strategy. And I get, and maybe they, as a locker room, they really needed that to kind of get going. But I just, to me, that wasn't necessarily the play. Go out and score a big goal off the face off, Brady, right? Like, that's what your team needs when it comes down to it. It's like, you don't really need to get out there and show that you're tougher than anybody. I don't think this series is one where that's going to be, a particular problem for the Sets. It's like, the problem is going to be, do you have enough to beat the Canes on the score sheet, because they've got some talent that they'll be able to score some goals.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I did want to
It's
ask
gonna
you
be
about the offside play
Oh, the
in the
offside? Yeah, so I think they got it right. I
right.
think that I don't understand okay. I don't understand why people are making a big deal about them reviewing it and getting the call right, and when it's just millimeters offside, that's still offside. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if it's a centimeter offside or 2 feet offside, it's still offside. Like,
No, for sure.
if it's the part that I know that, like, is, like, if he is, like, you're going into the NFL in terms of, like, possession on a
Catch. Yeah.
catch,
Yeah.
possession with the puck. I don't know. That's where it gets tricky. It's like, does he have possession of it? Does he not? I don't.
Well, I mean,
I
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
it's hard to say.
I honestly think it was onside. Like, I think it was onside in terms of just the spirit of how I understand them. I've seen much more egregious ones, I feel like, get by and be okay. So I was shocked when they came back out of that long review, because obviously that's what they're talking about, is like
Yeah,
the possession. Oh, it's touching his stick here, but it's not there. Is he looking at it? That was their whole thing. He didn't. I don't know if he knew where the puck was, or he didn't have possession,
he
like you
had
said.
possession. They
Yeah.
said, but he didn't have control.
Control, right? That was the whole
That
question.
was the
And
whole thing.
to me, like, that's you're doing too much at that point to try to find something. It feels like, to call it offside because it was challenged. Like, and for it to be called on the ice, fine. And then for them to overturn that with what they must have determined was sufficient evidence, I thought that was kind of a crazy call. But also, like, for them to say, okay, that play is now no longer in history, it doesn't count anymore. But the play that happened, the goal doesn't count, but the trip on the penalty shot attempt or whatever is going to count. We're going to just give you a penalty shot. I thought that was crazy too. Like, I was just like, I couldn't believe when he finished his. I think he said that the play was offside, and then he said, but we're going to give them a penalty shot. I was like, what the hell is happening right now?
Yeah, I guess that's in the rule book. I think it's for rule 38. So I
Yeah,
forget
yeah,
which official rule is.
yeah,
Basically, it's to stop someone from realizing, oh yeah, this play is gonna be blown dead. Okay, let me just go try to take a whack at this guy and
yeah,
it not be a
yeah,
penalty. So I understand. I do understand after seeing why that rule is in place. Like it should, but yeah, I don't think
yeah.
that was a penalty shot. Like, it's a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty shot, though. But anyway, Allmark made the save and life goes on, but they ended up losing anyway. And what do you know?
Yeah,
Martin Hook's
yeah.
the one to do it. So
Yeah, I
probably
mean, to
good
me,
for
that
him.
was like the perfect karma is like ball don't
Yeah.
lie, right? Like in the end, I think he probably should have tried to do something a little bit different on that penalty shot, but he got it. He
I
got
didn't
his.
mind him coming in and just trying to rip it past him. Like,
It
I
was a
don't
good
know.
shot. Like the
Yeah,
position,
it
like
was a good
obviously
shot.
Allmark only got a piece of it. Like it's not like he shot it right into the glove. Like it was a pretty good attempt, but like yeah, like obviously he's not much
He's
of a
not a
skill
skill
guy,
guy,
so
right? So you're not
yeah,
going to
yeah.
expect him to go, I don't know,
No,
between the legs,
yeah. I mean that would
poke
have been sick.
Kucherov down the, yeah, just not going to happen. But anyway,
You want to run through the West?
we'll quickly just touch on the West. For Colorado, LA, I thought LA honestly held their own through the first two games better than what I thought. Although I still believe a 7-0 game is coming for the Colorado Avalanche
Yeah.
probably here, and it's probably going to be it's either going to be sweeper in 5 for this series. How do you feel about it
Yeah.
right now?
No, those are my thoughts exactly. Like I've been a little bit impressed with how the Kings have been able to stick with Colorado, through the first couple of games, but I think you're right. Like Colorado at some point is going to hit their point and they're just going to kind of get through this like and maybe
Yeah.
not, but I don't see them losing in some of these tight games either. So I mean, I think you're right. Like I had Colorado in 5 here. So I mean, I'm going to probably stick with that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's all we really need to say about that series because
Yeah. Yeah.
LA has been like LA has impressed me, and like I said, like through the first two games, I'm shocked that they have been in these games.
If I had to choose between them losing in 4 or 5, I'd almost rather them lose in 4 so that Kopitar can go out, like, on home ice. Like, I think that would be kinda cool,
Yeah,
but, like, obviously, that's just me being selfish, so
Colorado should just let them get to 6. Let them get
yeah,
one
right?
win on
Yeah, like
home ice. Let them get one win on home ice. Let them even the series. Let them even the series. Win game 5 and win game 6. Doesn't matter. That'd be cool. Anyway,
Yeah.
I did that's part of the reason why I picked Colorado in 5 was because I was like, "Ah, I want Kobe to get one more win at home."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm just hoping for
That'd
that.
be
But
either way, I guess
honestly,
it's not the worst thing in the world if they get the win, but then they end up losing at 5, whatever. But
yeah.
yeah, like if they lose at 4, at least there's that silver lining for him. And maybe he
Yeah.
wouldn't want that, but like it would probably be a nice moment.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to Dallas, Minnesota. Everyone thought Dallas was absolutely screwed after they lost. They got pumped in game 1, 6-1, and now they lead the series 2-1 after winning a double overtime last night where Quinn Hughes and Mikko Rantanen kind of won at each other. They called 4 penalties in overtime last night, which is kind of surprising. Referees usually put the whistle away in overtime even more so in the play than what they do in the playoffs to begin with. So I don't know where are your thoughts after 3 games with this series?
No, I mean, for me, this series was kind of gone the way that I thought it was going to go. I mean, I picked Minnesota to win in 7 games, and I mean, I think you can go either way. Like, I think, but this series is going to be a long one. I think because you're just seeing like the. It just sucks that this series is in the first round because like and nobody's watching it. It feels like because it's amongst all the other series. Obviously, up in Canada, like people are focusing on like Edmonton when they're on
Yeah.
around the same time, and then you got Ottawa and Montreal. It's like it's tough, but like that series is probably the in terms of like the two best teams. I mean, we saw it in the standings. Like they are, you put them together, and those are the maybe two of the best 5 teams in the NHL. So I mean, I think it's gone the way it's gone, and the way it's going to probably continue. But I got to give credit to Dallas, yeah, to turn it around after that game 1 performance, and obviously win game 2, and then come into game 3 in Minnesota and push. They were losing, I believe, at one point. I didn't watch a lot of that game last night, but my understanding is they were down, pushed it to overtime, and then obviously just survived to get to double. And your boy
Yeah.
Wyatt
Yeah.
your boy Wyatt Johnston there, finish it
Yep.
off. Like, I mean, yeah, like, what can you say about Dallas? Is they are who we think they are every year, and whether or not it's gonna be one of the best teams in the West that takes them out if they don't make it through, but whether it's gonna be Minnesota or Colorado, like, or Edmonton, whatever however you wanna put it later in the playoffs, it's like, that who Dallas is, and I think they're gonna continue to show exactly what that is, and yeah, like, this is that series, and then the Montreal series. Out of the 8 that we picked, those are the 2 where I'm worried about my picks, because I think that they are like the talent on either side is so good that
Yeah.
it's like they're almost
They're even
50-50.
series. What
Yeah,
they are. They're even series.
yeah,
I honestly think that Dallas like is shocking me a little bit because without Rupe Hintz,
yeah,
um, I did not expect them to be. I thought they would be down 2-1 at this point. Like I picked them to win the series, but I expect them to be down 2-1 at this point without Rupe Hintz in the lineup. And you know what? They've done a great job of disguising that, I guess is the proper way to say, without him in the lineup.
100%.
Or disguising that missing piece. And Matt Duchene has been a big part of that. I thought that he's played honestly pretty good throughout these first 3 games. Um, Obviously Wyatt Johnson, Miko Rantanen, and Jason Robertson, they've all played great as well. But I just thought Matt Duchene has stepped up. He's needed to step up with Hensk out, and he's been the guy for me. Um,
Yeah, no, for him, and then even, like, Jamie Benn, I know he's not playing as much as he
yeah, true.
used to. Like, the fact that these guys are still going, like, it's actually pretty impressive, like, and they're still very impactful players. But, like, yeah, like, for me, it's just you watch the 2 teams, like, their defense cores, like, just going back and forth, like, talking Minnesota, obviously, you got the big guns, you're
Faber has
talking
been
about
unreal, man.
Quinn
Faber
Hughes, you're
has
talking
been
about Faber. Yeah,
unreal.
like, but then even with Dallas, like, yeah, like Heiskanen's been, I think, very good. Like, people have been kinda sleeping on
Yeah.
him a little bit more this year. Obviously, Thomas Harley's figured it out, but, like, I've always been
Heiskanen
a
was
big fan of
unbelievable last night.
100%, like, and then, Lindell's still very good, like, Tyler Myers still going a little bit, like, I don't know, like, these 2 teams for sure, like, outside of Colorado, like, they clearly
They're
are, I
deep.
think, the 2 best teams, in the West, and yeah, I don't know, where do you go if you're Minnesota and you fall back here and you lose? Like, I don't know, it's tough.
I don't know. There's a lot of changes that need to happen in the offseason. You gotta go get another number 1 center or number 2 center, I feel like, to strengthen that core. But outside of that, Minnesota's like loaded. Like I don't see a weakness in Minnesota. The biggest thing was for their center depth coming in. That was my biggest question.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it goes the rest of the way. I also think like they don't really know who their number 1 goaltender is right now, and that's a problem.
Would
Like
you
who they're
Wallstat started all 3 games, right?
yes.
Would you
Yeah.
go to, Gustafson, or what would you not that because Wallstat hasn't played bad, I don't like, it's just
He hasn't played bad. It's
yeah,
just I don't know. It's just
yeah. It's
Gustafson
a
was
tough
your
one.
guy in the regular season. It's kind of weird to go to Wallstead in
It
the
had
playoffs.
yeah, I would agree. It was weird when that game 1 starter dropped and it was Jesper Wallstedt, I was surprised that it wasn't Philip Gustafson for sure.
Yeah, that's the only thing that it's like a little bit. Mm, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway. Yeah. So 2 series left. Vegas, Utah, tied 1-1. They don't play tonight as well. So they played game 3 on Friday as well.
Sweet, sweet.
So they will be another team at just 2 games after tonight. 1-1, obviously, Utah gets their first win in franchise history, in playoff franchise history. And Logan Cooley scores in back-to-back games. He's been a dynamic player. Who's stood out the most to you in Utah's, I guess, strong start to this series?
I mean, probably Cooley himself. I mean, I was shocked to learn that I saw a list the other day of, top players under 22 or 22 and younger, and he was on that list, and I was like, "Oh my god," because it feels like this guy has been around forever already. Like,
He was drafted 3rd overall, or no,
yeah,
yeah, 3rd overall in 2022.
like, and right away it felt like he is. been one of those guys that has been able, like the guys that we've talked about, like obviously not as talked about himself, but like he's been able to fit in with this group really, really well. And especially a team like Utah who has kind of made a little bit of a name in terms of like their skill and ability to find guys that can put the puck in the net. Like I've been really impressed with their start, and that game 2 win, I think it would have been easy for them to kind of um shrink a little bit and allow Vegas to kind of take the series over. But the way that they kind of storm back and they're showing that they are not just a wild card team that's going to be out in the first round. Like they really want to push, and I think going home and seeing what that building's going to look like for their first ever playoff game, like
True,
it's
true.
a pretty going to be a pretty energetic atmosphere you would expect. And
The Zameth.
oh man, the Mammoth is going to be a roll, and I can't wait to see it. Um, but yeah, like
That'll
I
be
mean,
funny.
I would expect them to win at least one of those games back home, and I think that that gives them as good a chance as anyone to go and win a 3-game series against a Vegas team that a lot of people think is good, but like really, as they are, they're kind of unproven in terms of like what they're going to be
So
doing
yeah,
going to.
what do you are you worried about the Golden Knights? Like who do you favor more of in this five best of five now?
I mean, I'm still taking Vegas. Like I think for me, it was Vegas in 6 all the way, and I think that's
Same.
kind of where this is leading. Um, But I mean, I probably if I had to change my percentage, I'd probably go a little bit more on the Utah side. I give them a bit of a chance here. Like I said, if they can win, at least one of these games, maybe both of these games at home, I mean, it puts them in a great position to try to upset the Knights here. So I mean, let's see what they got coming up this weekend. But yeah, just been happy to see that those Utah Mammoth are going to make something happen in the playoffs instead of going out quietly.
Yeah, they to me they prove that like they're not just gonna roll over
Yeah, yeah,
to a more experienced and veteran team, right? Like Vegas has been there, done that. Like they
yeah.
seemingly this is a cake or walk in the park for them. Like it's nothing new to them. But Utah is not backing down, and they're here to play. Like they're young, they're exciting. They have some good veteran players on their team, but like I said, it's a lot of youth. Man, I one player though that just this guy's gonna score 50 for like 10 years. It feels like straight. Dylan Gunther, that release is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like
kid can fire it.
that goal the other night was absolutely ridiculous. Oh man, what a guy! What a player! Like think about like Utah's youth and Tidge and McGinley's still on the
McGinley.
way. Caleb Dejournay is on the way. Um, oh my gosh, oh, I forget his name. It's no big deal. But Cole he played on the World Junior team this year. He was a first round pick in 2024. He's also still on the way. They have a bunch of defensemen that are still on the way. It's going to be so fun. Though that in
Yeah.
Utah or that in Montreal are the two teams that have the best prospect pools and are still in the playoffs. So it's kind of
Yeah.
crazy to think what
Maybe
those teams.
maybe the Mammoth are sort of like where Montreal was last year. Like they're in, they're kind of happy to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
They're ready to kind of take the next step. And then
I
maybe
don't
if
hate
they
that
lose this
comparison. Yeah.
season, yeah, like they lose this season, they come back refreshed, maybe another new young face. Everyone takes another step after another season, get that playoff experience, and next year's really like that. Okay, now we're gonna go here, try to win, get a division spot, maybe. Like yeah, like it could all just be going up for here from here for the Mammoth
I would think so. I would think that would be the expectation next season at least.
for sure.
The last series tied 1-1 as well. The Oilers and the Ducks. There are a couple big things from this series I would point out. Number one is Jason Dickinson's health.
100%.
I thought that he was great in game one, but obviously we saw he didn't play game two because he was still hurt when he returned in game one, and he's got to get healthy. Number one, and hopefully, if you're an Oilers fan, hopefully he gets healthy within like the next week. Like that would be your hope. Is this is only like 3 or 4 games, and then he's back in the lineup because when he's back in the lineup, he makes everyone slot in a lot easier. It feels like, especially since Adam Henrique's out as well.
Yeah.
Um, those two guys, like they make the lineup work better. if that makes sense. Like, they're not the star guys. They're not McDavid. They're not Draisaitl. They're not any of those guys. But when you have those guys in the lineup, the whole lineup works better. And that's the way
Yeah.
to look at them.
Well,
But
it allows them to roll a lot more. Like I think
exactly.
we saw in game two, like they're without those guys helping, they don't really have much of a fourth line that they can
Hmm.
really confidently put out there. So I think it puts a lot more weight on the top guys to really produce. And I think right now the way that the Oilers are, or the Oilers are constructed, I don't think that that's a formula they can afford to try again. So I think yeah, Dickinson especially like it's so funny that when you see a guy play so great in game one and then he's got to come out of the lineup in game two, like that's playoffs for you. But yeah, if the Oilers not necessarily want to win this series because they still are capable without him, but if they want to go deep in the playoffs, like you're going to need those depth guys, like you said, with Dickinson and Henry, like huge losses.
The like I predicted Oilers in 6, so I did not think this was going to be a pushover by the Anaheim Ducks. They
Yeah,
obviously aren't a pushover. They have shown that they're gonna play just like the Utah Mammoth, and this is a young, exciting team. Obviously, Leo Carlson is so good, like just
yeah.
unreal. And like there's two other big things I guess we should touch on to wrap this thing up in terms of the NHL, and that is the health of Connor McDavid. Um, he he goes to the bench last night after it seems like he rolls his ankle, I wanna say, like, I'm just taking a guess. That is not a report, that is literally just a guess. Um, and it just seemed like, he didn't seem like he lost a step, but, like, it took a little bit to gain the trust back in himself, I guess, and then once he found it, it was good, but it led to a terrible turnover by him for the 4-2 goal that was shorthanded. That was not a Connor McDavid play that you would ever normally see. So that was kind of shocking to me. And then, yeah, that's number one. First off, I don't know if you have any thoughts about that, or if you thought that he looked injured after returning to play last night, or if he's dealing with something. Obviously, he's dealing with something, but
Yeah, like I think it's unlikely that he's going to leave the bench and then come back and that there not to be something, even in the moment, which could be something that lingers. So yeah, I don't want to speculate necessarily on what it could be, but if it is anything that's going to hamper him going forward, it's only going to help or hurt the Oilers more because they
yeah,
are already in a position, like you said, where they're going to need him and Draisaitl, who's coming off an injury himself. Like, we don't know the status really of what's going on with him. Like, it just doesn't seem like if McDavid gets hurt, I mean, the stars would seem to be aligning that it just might not be their year. But who's to say, he might come back game three and have a huge performance. So I don't ever want to say that guy is really going to have he's not going to go down easy. He's not going to, even if he is injured, he's going to give every effort he has. So yeah, I'm pulling for the Oilers here. I want to see them give it another go and hopefully they can get it going.
biggest thing is the power play. It's 0 for 6 through 2 games for the Edmonton Oilers. Are you
Yeah.
worried about that?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I don't think necessarily that they're going to, lose the series if they're not able to get the power
Hmm.
play rolling a little bit. But it definitely will hurt their chances going forward through the playoffs because that's something that they've been able to depend on in the past. And in any season, a good power play in the playoffs is potentially a ticket to winning a couple rounds if you can get it going.
Hmm. I agree. Um, I'm not worried about it yet, but it is something that you have to be watching out for. And I think
For
that, like,
sure.
obviously the Ducks came in with the sixth worst penalty kill in the league in the regular season. And for me, like, it's like the playoffs are just different than the regular season. You're going to be more tighter on your details and you're going to try and take away plays more likely than what you would in the regular season. Um, Obviously you ratchet everything up just a little bit more than the intensity in the regular season as well. So
For
that
sure.
has something to do with it as I think. It's just Edmonton's gonna have to figure it out. I'm sure that they will. It's just gonna take, like, obviously it took 2 games here, and maybe game 3 is when they make the adjustment and figure stuff out, or it's game 4. But I expected them to figure it out at some point in this series, and we got a 6-4 game last night. Do you predict any score will be higher for the rest of the series?
Well, I never wanna rule it out when you're talking the Oilers, and even the Ducks this season, they've been in some high scoring games. So I mean, I'll say no. 10 goals is a lot, especially in the playoffs. So I'll say we're like unlikely to see one higher, but I wouldn't be
I'm gonna say we're
surprised if we
seeing one
did.
higher. We're
Yeah,
seeing
I
one
wouldn't be
higher.
surprised at all. Yeah,
7-5 or 6-5. We're getting
yeah,
one of those games.
for sure.
Where or 8-7. 8-7 could be insane.
Yeah,
Like just offense, pure offense, nothing. No one's caring about any defense, That's what we're gonna get. But yeah, that's just what does it for the NBA or for the NHL playoffs. Um, we'll touch on the NBA playoffs. Honestly, first round has not been that exciting to me. Outside of a couple series, I think Minnesota, Denver is going to
yeah,
go the mile. I think that is
100%.
that is
It's been a
clear that
great
that
series so far.
series
Yeah,
exactly. Minnesota is obviously Minnesota's a 6 seed, but they're not a 6 seed in my opinion. They're stronger than what they finished. The Western Conference is just a really
it's
strong
really good
conference in general. Um, and then the Knicks and Hawks, I think that could go further than what people might have thought. Like I'm talking 6 games, I think. I
for
think the
sure.
Knicks still win it, but we'll talk about the team that matters in Canada the most, and that would be the Toronto Raptors. They're down 2-0. They played tonight in game 3 at home. I think it's curtains, man. I think it's already over. This is
It's tough.
Packer in. Packer in. Season's over. Move on.
Yeah,
James
I mean,
Harden is into the second round.
honestly, I can't really disagree at this point. Like, even if maybe the Raptors get a little boost coming home playing in Toronto, but I can't see this series going more than 5 games. Like, I hate to say it. I honestly I was thinking ahead, before it started, I was like, "Oh, maybe the Raps win a couple, game 6, let's see, we can go." And then as for that first half, even more, I was pretty first half of game 1, they're sticking with it. I think they go to halftime down 1 or something. I'm like, "Okay, they're right there. Like, this is gonna be a series." And then the second half of that game was just abysmal. It really showed, where the Raptors are, which is just they're a tier behind the teams in the East that are really, going to compete, and that includes teams like the Knicks. Obviously, the Cavs, I think, are in that group. The Boston Celtics, like the Raptors are behind that group, and I don't think it's a small margin. So, I mean, we're going to see if they can kind of drum something up here in the the back half of this series, but yeah, I really agree that it's probably over for them with a first round exit, and I think there'll be some serious questions going into the offseason about what some of these pieces, or what they should be doing with some of these pieces because yeah, like
Yeah.
if you can't keep some guys on the floor, and if some guys are just not what they seem to be, and then they obviously extensions everywhere, like it's not a good outlook for the team right now.
So let's talk about the most glaring player. Well, actually, who's your most glaring player? Because it might be different than mine, but
Well, I get what you're saying because I think it depends on like your expectations. Um, a lot of people have been, harping even before the playoffs on a guy like Jakob Poeltl, who in this series has looked pretty
sure,
helpless out there. Like
sure.
he, as a big man, he's surrounded, the Raptors' only big man realistically, and he's getting
Mm-hmm.
dominated by the two twin towers out there with Jared Allen
Jared
and Evan
Allen
Mobley.
and Mobley,
Mobley,
yeah.
but I think the obvious one is Brandon Ingram. Like
Yeah.
you bring in a guy like this, to be a scorer, to be the leader of the team offensively, and to put up 2 games where, he put up I think
So
24 points total. Like he does not even you'd expect that in one game. So
it's not
it's
even just the points
no,
for me. It's like the comments after game 1,
of
and then to
course,
follow it up with the
yeah,
performance
with the
in game 2
performance,
of 7 points.
yeah. No, it's been
Like he had
disappointing, and that's
0
not the
points at
guy.
the half in that game,
Yeah,
game 2.
yeah. 100%, and most of those 7 or whatever they scored were like garbage
Garbage
time.
minutes,
Like it didn't
so
even matter. Like yeah, it's really disappointing, and again, it's just another guy that they've extended and is expected to be part of the team for some time. Like, I brought up Jakob Poeltl, same thing, an extension that now a lot of Raptors fans are really, really upset about. Emmanuel Quickly, he's got a lot of money on the books. Like, people wanna get some clarity on what the
Yeah.
team's going to do going forward. Because as constructed, this is not a team that's going to contend for an NBA championship. Even if you can bring in a few other pieces or anything, it's not like they'll be impactful enough to make that much of a change. So I think that they'll have to figure out a real plan if their goal is to get back to being an elite contending team in the NBA. If their goal is to continue to win the playoffs or to get into the playoffs and win in the regular season, yeah, stick with the plan that you have, but you better be ready for the people who have seen a championship in this city to kind of come at you and say, hey, this is not the formula to get it done again. So
Yeah,
it'll be really interesting to see how it goes and what the temperature looks like as they come out of this series with Cleveland if it is a quick loss.
for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how the rest of the series goes.
Yeah,
And I'm sure there will be a lot of criticism to talk about next week after they're
yeah,
probably done and their season
yeah.
is over. Um, Lastly, it's happening tonight, the first round of the NFL draft. You hear this tomorrow. Brandon, who is on the Buffalo Bills roster that it isn't on the Buffalo Bills roster as of right now?
I'm hoping it's and I've heard this name. He seems to be hanging around the spot that are around 25, 26, whether the Bills will be picking at 26. It's been a lot of talk that they might, trade down, which is actually that's always their memo or MO, I guess it they always want to trade down.
Yeah.
But hopefully they take the pick. Guy I'm looking at for the Bills is Ohio State edge rusher Caden McDonald.
Okay.
Um, he, I think, is like I said, he's kind of ranked around that spot. He fills a need that the Bills desperately need, which is to get a guy in there who can stop the run, or at least help them stop the run. That was their biggest issue last year. Hopefully, a guy like that will be able to step in, help them out a little bit. Um, but I don't know. I mean, again, like the NFL draft is one of those weird ones where we could see a lot of teams try to do some different stuff. I expect the Bills. I hope the Bills make the pick because I think it's always you always want to have as many of the best young players in your building as possible. I think trying to trade down and maybe draft for position or something like to that degree, or pick a guy they think is going to fall. At this point, they're not in they're not they don't have the luxury, I don't think, to do that. People expect them to try to get right back to winning, and I think the best way to do that as soon as possible is to just pick the best player available and hope you can figure out a spot for them.
The biggest thing for the Bills has always been their pass rush.
Yeah,
Pass
yeah,
rush for me.
yeah,
They haven't had an elite guy. They bring in guys that are like they bring in guys
old
that are
guys, old
old
guys.
guys, like Joey
Yeah,
Bosa, good but
Von
old.
Miller.
And Von
Yeah,
Miller, good but old. Like
yeah,
they've never had like a super elite in the, at least since the Josh Allen era of
yeah.
like he's gonna get to the quarterback and get 15 sacks a year. Like it just doesn't happen. So um yeah, that's the thing that they need the most. It's gonna be interesting to see if they target that
A
tonight.
lot of people want them to pick the KC Conception, I think his name is, or something like to that
Okay.
degree. He's the receiver, but again, like
You don't need a receiver though if you're
again, I know,
Buffalo.
like I think people
You
get
just traded for DJ Moore.
yeah,
Unless
people
everyone
get
forgets that
excited,
DJ
but
Moore is on the roster.
yeah, maybe, but and I mean, a lot of people, I don't know, maybe they're not sold on him. I don't know, but it's one of those things that I think for me, like you said, the defensive side of the ball, you need a guy who can stop the run, get to the quarterback, be able to give
Yeah.
get the ball back for your offense. It's like that's the way football's played these days. It's not all about just loading up one side. Like, and we saw this year that the Bills defense was just not up to snuff. And I think that if they're able to figure that out a little bit, they'll be in a better spot.
For sure. And the team that they will be chasing will be their division rival, the New England Patriots, who will be picking 31st overall tonight.
Yeah.
And one interesting note about the 31st overall pick, it's not about who they're going to take tonight. You can lay the house down that they will not be picking 31st overall.
No.
Yeah. There is no chance they're picking 31st. They're trading out of the first round.
Right.
Because Mike Vrabel has is scheduled to talk to the media tonight if they make a selection with the 31st overall pick. If they don't make a selection tonight, He doesn't have to talk to reporters until May 27th.
Wow, that makes
So
sense.
where do you
Maybe they'll
think this
just
is gonna go?
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They'll probably trade down to the 3rd round, I guess.
Like there is no chance they're picking tonight. There is just
Wow.
no chance. Even if a player's there that like, like they really want, no chance. Because you know what that press conference is gonna be about. And everyone will get into it right now. Mike Vrabel's obviously not gonna be there for the third day of the NFL draft. He's said that. He's gonna go to counseling for this thing that happened with Diana Rossini. Which both parties have said the pictures that were leaked um weren't what they look like, I guess, and that there was more people around and stuff, but more stuff has come out since, and now Mike Vrabel's going to counseling on the third day of the NFL draft, which is very interesting to me considering why is it on a Saturday and why is it during the NFL draft that you're doing this? Is this punishment by the team? To say this is what we're gonna punish you by not saying we're punishing you, but go to counseling throughout the third day of the NFL draft. Because going to counseling during the third day of the NFL draft just doesn't make sense to me. Like in terms of a coach perspective, like shouldn't he be in the war room? I don't know, like that just makes sense to me that he would be there. He's got to have input on who the picks are going to the team. Obviously, the general manager can make the final decision, but I would think that your head coach is gonna, you know, unless he's just gonna communicate from counsel or from his friggin' counselor, just tell him what picks he wants. Like I don't know, it's just weird to me that that's the situation. But yeah, just no way the New England Patriots make a pick tonight. There's just zero chance, in my opinion. Like
No, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, you don't I'm sure nobody wants to be in that position. They've already obviously had to deal with it for the last couple of weeks, and I think we'll start to see maybe things will get a little bit back to normal after the weekend, and if Rabel doesn't have to speak for a while, then yeah, that would make a lot of sense. So I should put a bet down on the Patriot
like
trade. I don't know if you can, but
I don't know if you can, but on Polymarket you probably can. Um,
true, true.
but yeah, that's basically another month that you wouldn't have to speak to
Y-
reporters. Get out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
PR
Be
act in
pretty
terms
smart by
of
them to try to get some space, and
yeah. Plus,
but I mean
apparently,
that's
our
a
first round pick next year, 2028, is going to be AJ Brown. So
of
I
course.
don't understand though that how does AJ Brown? How is AJ Brown the only wide receiver in seemingly NFL history to hold his value as a first round pick after 5 years after he was traded for a first round pick?
Well, I mean, better people would know this than me, but I think his production would, and I mean, you look at other receivers that have been traded for similar hauls, whatever it ends up being. But I would imagine like his production still stacks up to what would be a return, even at his age and every like I if it's
He's
one first
28.
rounder, like yeah, like I don't think he's like yeah, like I think, bro, you should. I mean, in my opinion too, is like that NFL teams, and I guess this is just the standard, but like the picks that are given in player trades to me are never amount to what they almost always for me the team giving up the player is getting hosed because I never like the value
Yeah.
of
So
players to picks,
so we'll
but
just. I guess
but
we'll
I
just talk about this because then this brings up the conversation.
yeah
Cincinnati, do they
right.
hose New York?
Well, what did they give up for Dexter Lawrence again?
10th
Do you have
overall
it on?
pick. Just that's it.
Right, that was it, eh?
Just one
And
for
then they
one
immediately
swap.
signed him. They got him for like 3 or 4 more years now, I think.
No, well, he
Um,
was already signed for 2, and then they
yeah,
gave him
yeah,
a 1 year
and it
extension. So now he's a
yeah.
3 year, basically.
But it's different though. I don't again, I without looking at the number, I don't know what the comparables are to what Dexter Lawrence has put up, and he probably was. Yeah, I would say that the Giants probably, unless they make an unbelievable pick, I would say the Giants probably got hosed, but that's just also because of the situation. Like Lawrence probably wasn't going to stay there, right? So yeah, like I don't know, they just did what they could do. But yeah, I
Who
would say that's a for one pick. I think it's worth it. Like this is the NHL, the NBA, where it's like you're talking multiple years of strapping yourself because of a player. Like no, like a lot of times NFL teams, you make a pick and whatever, like you move on to the next draft or whatever. So
like I feel like you're right in the sense like no player Cincinnati would have drafted this year on defense because that's obviously where they would need to go anyway.
yeah, yeah, it was going to
Was
be
going
as
to be
impactful.
as big or is going to have as big of an impact as what Dexter Lawrence is going to have this season for their team. And
Yeah,
obviously, this is a huge season for Joe Burrow. Like
yeah.
we've seen reports that this could be it in terms of if it doesn't work out, if they're not in the playoffs, he will be asking out. And that's obviously something that looms over the organization as they go into this season. So going out and making a trade for a big defensive player, I think was the right call for Cincinnati. I did see a report, however, that before they traded for Dexter Lawrence, they did have interest in trading for Max Crosby. So if I had asked you which player would you rather this season, would it be Max Crosby or Dexter Lawrence?
I mean, for me, it would be Max Crosby, but I think that the way that they played it is pretty smart to end up with a guy like Dexter Lawrence and now to have control for the next 3 or 4 year, whatever. Sorry, I already forgot what number you said. I think it's 3 years. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go that route. The one pick, whereas with the Crosby deal, it might have ended up being more than that. But what were the Ravens supposedly? They were giving up a first round too, but it wasn't even as good,
They were giving
right?
up the 14th pick and
Yeah,
another first rounder next
multiple.
year.
So I mean, if the cost was going to be more, if you can isolate it to one pick, the Giants had they have good pick
Yeah, if
already.
you can
Like
isolate it to one
yeah,
pick, I like it because
and
like
like
you're
the
not
Bengals,
giving up future first rounders. Like that
exactly.
trade the Jaguars made last year to move up to from 2 to 5 or five to 2. I don't like those picks or those trades because I find that they hurt the team that you're trading. Like in terms of um the team that's trading up, you put yourself in a vulnerable situation where you're already at the top of the draft class this season. And what gives you the hope?
Yeah, you're hurting
Obviously,
yourself
Jacksonville did this,
later.
but what gives you the hope that you're going to be able to turn it around next year and be
Yeah, well,
that good?
especially if you trade up to draft a two-way player that doesn't look like he's going to be a two-way player
Two
anymore.
play
So,
player anymore. So,
so
but then
yeah,
apparently
that's
he said he might be a two-way player. So
yeah.
that's
Well, he's
also
always going to say that.
Dexter Lawrence and Max Crosby are the same age. So just wanted to point
Yeah,
that out
so,
as well.
yeah, yeah.
So it's not like there's an big age
No,
discrepancy
for
there.
sure.
But yeah, that just about does it for this episode of Second Look Sports. We hope you
Yes, sir.
enjoy whatever you're watching this weekend in terms of either it's golf, NBA playoffs, if it's the NHL playoffs, if it's the NFL draft, if it's EPL soccer, which let me tell you, if we have 5 minutes for soccer next week, we should talk about this title race because it is crazy what is happening with Arsenal and Man City right now. Absolutely bananas. I watched Man City versus Arsenal last week. Just
Nice.
crazy stuff. But anyway, we'll get into that maybe next week. And yeah, that just about does it. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the beautiful weather if you're in Toronto. I don't know if wherever you're
Yes.
from. But yeah, get out, enjoy some sun rays, and we'll talk to you next week. Peace.